Hello, everyone at home. I'm here bringing you another interview with our good friend Ben. I'm going to let Ben introduce himself.
Ben, as I've told you, and before that, some people maybe might have known me as Mustafa. Mustafa is a Muslim name. Uh, Before, from my family, I'd converted into that religion, but at some point, I came back in my Christianity. That's why now I'm called Ben, and Ben was my name before. Uh, I'm a Ugandan from Masindi, and I lost my dad 2 years ago. I stay with my dad. I stay with my mom, and I have 6 more siblings. I'm one of the 7. Yeah.
And do you want to tell us a little bit about your family? I know it just grew a little bit recently.
Yeah. About my family, I was just trying to tell you about like from my mom's side, but from my dad's side, probably Americans, you won't want to know that, or you won't believe that. I'm one of 43 siblings of my dad. My dad was police officer. He served in police for some good years. And then he married more than one wife. There are like 5. I have 4 more stepmothers. And out of those, my mom's side, we are 7. And then others, you can divide, you remove 43. 7 out of 43. And then you'll get that, you divide for those ones. The challenge we had from those extended family, it's really, really a very big challenge, but sometimes you learn out of the challenge. We are, okay, he was not that, he got married officially like in the church, but due to being a police officer, whenever they could transfer him, maybe at times he could leave the other wife at home, and then goes to the next town where they have transferred him. Then maybe at some point, she also gets someone just like that until we got ourselves being 43. Those ones, the one I know, those who are alive, that was the number they gave us when he passed away. But others, I think there must have been probably more than that, because others, they died some time back ago.
Okay.
Yeah.
And just for everyone at home to know, like Alec and I know Ben because he's friends with a lot of Peace Corps volunteers. He has a business for being a tour guide, showing people around the country. And when Alec's parents came, he took us around, and we've become even better friends. So that's how we have come to know Ben. Ben, can you tell us what you like to do for fun?
Actually, for me, for fun, I like being busy. Just as I've told you that when I do tour and travel, but when I don't have clients, I just normally want to come back here and sit at my place here. I relax. I make sure that I've fixed things like the way they are supposed to be. I like plants. I like planting things, like making garden. And besides that, I like listen to music.
Yes.
Like special music, those which has like meaning, which are carrying informations, like they are carrying actual message to educate people. Those are the kind of music that I like, for fun. Yeah.
Yeah, thanks for sharing.
Yeah.
And right now we're actually sitting on Ben's property doing this interview, and it's really beautiful. Actually, the Ugandan national bird, which is the crested crane, just flew over, and they're pretty beautiful birds. I recommend you all look up what they look like. Now I wanted to shift and have Ben share with you all something that he shared with me. Can you tell us about your experience working at the orphanage and kind of like what you learned from that experience, the background?
Well, I will go a bit far deeper than that. The experience I've got like with the orphanage, before the orphanage, I was a border rider. And then I used to take around some volunteers, we have a American clinic here, hospital. So I used to take them around with my bike. And then until we they kept introducing me to more friends, and then the friends kept introducing me to other friends, until one of the friends, I met some organization. It used to be called 147 Million Orphans. I met them in Jinja. So we chat a little bit with them, and then they liked me and they gave me some work to do with the orphanage. I started like as a volunteer. So for some couple years, like maybe 3 to 4 years, and then they had to employ me to give me a job working with the orphanage. For them, they were in States, in Nashville, Tennessee. And then for me, I was their personal on the ground here in Uganda. So I used to, then I left the border issue. Then I started working with the orphanage. Meanwhile, sometimes when there's not much to do with the orphanage, or when the team comes, then I continue sometimes with my border issue. Or border means like taking people around with the with motorcycle.
That's
yes,
good. I hadn't thought of explaining that. So
yes.
Thank you.
So taking people and then they pay you money. We call it border. So whatever the organization could send me, responsibilities like you have to do this, do that. Once I'm done with it, and then I also go back to my usual work. Just as I told you guys that I like being busy. I normally tell people that being busy, it's like running water. When you're not busy, the opposite of running water is like stagnant water. So you can see what is, which one's which. Yeah. So I worked with the orphanage in different places, in Masindi, in Jinja, in Impigi, in a lot of places. Even moving around Kampala when I'm like taking people to the airport, coming back, you see some orphans on the street. So at some point, it touched my heart. Like, I really had now a heart for the orphans. So when I look at that, and then I look at my family being like 43 kids of one man, and then besides even part of that, if I take you back about like being 43 kids in a family, you will get like education. A man will not afford for all of your education. So when I look at those orphans, I'm just like, oh, maybe I could be one of those ones. I could be like what? Things like that. So I had a heart for the orphans. I worked with them, as I told you, in very many different places. But the challenge I had with it, when I moved around in some of the orphanages, they are not really orphans. So here in Africa, for us, once one mother or like a single parent dies, they remain with one parent, automatically they say that one is an orphan. Especially like when a man dies and then the child remains with the mother, so the child calling himself or herself being an orphan. And then sometimes the challenge I got from the orphanages or like the homes, I did some research when I moved with some of the Americans, that organization, some of the places, some picked interest on some of the kids. And I remember one was like my American mama. She picked interest on one of the child and she wanted like to adopt that child. And then we did some research about that child. And then we started doing some, that lady wanted to adopt that child. So when we reached Exton, we are like, okay, so you know the procedures for adoption, we need to go to the court, you need to get maybe to get a lawyer, all those, and you have to be honest and speak the truth about that child. So the woman, she did, others could not accept their children to be advertised on newspaper or like on a television. But what I found out from that was, when I went deeper with my investigation, I found that some of the orphanages, some people, they just bring their children, like in the orphanages, being like as a baby care or like daycare, and then others bring their children to be in orphanages, such that those children will get help from to get some sponsors from outside countries. Whenever they come this way, they look at those children, because some people, they've been even having hearts for sponsoring such children. So other parents, for them, they could just say, oh, let me take this child of mine to the orphanage so that he or she will get a chance to be adopted or to get a sponsor. But some of them, they don't know much about adoption. that once the child is adopted, means that now the all authority on that child belongs to now the family which have adopted, which they don't understand that. I think they need to be educated about that. And then after that, some of the orphanages, some people, I'm just going to be honest, as I've been always, some orphanages, they are kind of like, they make a school, they make orphanage, and then others take it kind of just an advantage to get money out of it, like the leaders or like any other people. So they make it kind of like a kind of orphanage. So I reached an extent whereby it was really hard for me to identify which one is an orphan or which one is an not really orphan. So I reached an extent also whereby we had some challenges with my fellow Ugandans. You know, when you're doing things like organizations, some people come in organization when they have their personal interest. So we had some kind of like challenges with my colleagues. They would like to do something like this. And I said, no, I think we have to do this. And then I said, no, well, let's do this. And then I reached X and I was like, do you know what? I think I'm going to quit. I don't want to do something which is going to give me a headache once I've seen. Because for me, the place where I used to work, it was like my hometown. I will at least know which one is which, or if we go this route, I'll come back on this road. But if someone just comes new and tells me, no, let's do this like this and like this, and after I've seen the outcome is not going to be correct, it's going to be negative, and then what I normally just do is I withdraw. I leave them to continue with that if they insist. And then I reached X and I was like, no, do you know what? I'm not going to continue with such things. And then I left. I told my boss, I explained to them about my work, how it is becoming heavy to me. I had some challenges like with one of the director of the school and also some of my colleagues. And so when I explained those to my boss, they're like, no, you know what? Maybe the work's just too much for you, or let's give you another employee, someone that you can work with. So when those people came and they worked, and I tried to explain to them what I really need to, what we're supposed to do. I told them, do you know what? We are here. Actually, we are working under that organization, funding us from US, and then working into one of the organizations here in Uganda. One of the organizations in Uganda. So they are helping them through us to those schools.
Ben's dog just came up to join us for the interview. Hello.
Yeah.
Thanks for sharing all that. I want to have you talk about how your experience with the orphanages that you had, how it has shaped now into what your vision is going forward.
Yeah. Sorry, the dog's just trying to be
It's okay.
somewhere. Yeah. So the experience, actually, it's a long story that I've been with with the orphanages. So for me, I decided, all in all, I quit the job. Then I decided to do my tour and travel. Meanwhile, I had a vision. I wanted to make my orphanage, which will be real orphanage at some point. But I reached extent whereby I was like, no, if I put an orphanage, and then that orphanage is still there, they will think that I'm trying to get sponsors from states to my organization. So I didn't want to have such fights with them. So I left that. I gave it some time. And then I decided to go ahead with my tour and travel project. Mostly taking people around, like especially a lot of Peace Corps volunteers. So mine was just actually like not being a tour guide, like maybe I went and I studied for it for years and years. No, mine was just like personal experience going to the field. And then also beside that, and my tour and travel is kind of like, it's a friend tells a friend about me, not putting stuff on website, making it sugar coated and stuff like that. No. So I continue with that. Then I continue sharing my ideas with some of my Peace Corps volunteers like Jessica and Alec and other friends, many friends, Peace Corps volunteers. Then I reached extent whereby since I had a heart for the orphans, then I asked myself what I've worked with orphanages and I've seen the experience. I've seen the difficulties and everything. Now, what should I do with these orphanages? So I decided, instead of making more orphanages, I asked myself, what can we do to reduce the number of orphanages? So I've been watching some stuff like on YouTube. Then I decided, I started actually in my village, whereby teaching people. I could go with some Peace Corps volunteers. They could educate people like kitchen gardens, teaching them how to sustain themselves, like things, some small things in their compound they can dig, have some greens, and they could tell them how green is valuable for someone's life. Then, of course, we Ugandans, some people in the village, once they see a white person, they call them Mzungu anyway. Once they see a Mzungu, they say, Mzungu, give me money, give me sweetie, things like that. So what we did, we told my people in the village was like, I told them, these are my friends and they have experience to teach people how to fish, or they even have a lot of fish in their country. And I want you people to choose one thing. Maybe you'll be coming this way like 4 times in a year with a lot of fish for you people. And maybe she may come this way once in a year, but she can teach you how to fish. And I told them, you remember, we have a lake by our home here and they have fish. So which one do you want? Do you want her to always come with fish for you people here once or twice in a year? Or you want her to teach you how to fish so that you can always fish at your own time? Everyone, they made me happy. Everyone told me that, you know what? We all want her to teach us how to fish. I asked them, why? But she can always just bring you a fish. They say that, no. What if she's not coming? Or what if she have missed? What if she gets sick? Are we not going to eat fish? I said, oh, that's good. They're now smart. So I told them, okay, right now, they are going to teach you people how to sustain yourself, to have some kitchen gardens, or like to have some education, how to do things for yourself, to be independent. So I started with that project. I started getting what I did for them was getting some seeds. I could go in the village. They get some small gardens. They make some vegetables. They plant some green peppers, all those in vegetables. And then after that, so I asked myself now, they always say a leader should always be an example. So I asked myself, what should I do? And then, as I told you that I want to be hardworking, and I've been always working and being focused, because when I looked around my siblings, our dad having 43 children, and she could not take care of all of us. So I started my savings earlier. Actually, there was also one Peace Corps volunteer who helped me. One time, she told me that, you know what? How much do you get in a day and how much do you spend? So I was like, I don't know. I always just get money that I can get. Then I spend, then I remain with whatever. So she bought me a notebook, small one. She told me that, you know what? That's how I got my experience for like saving. She told me that you get a book. I want you to write for me every single coin that you are going to get. And then every single coin you are going to spend out, you write them. Then after 1 month, we shall get back together, we sit, and you come with that book, we pass through them. So that thing actually, it helped me. That's what I started now to learn how to save. So I also saved some money out of my working. I'd bought a land somewhere. I planted eucalyptus in. Then at some point, they grew well. I sold them. And then I had to buy somewhere where we're seated right now, which I liked, which I call it sometimes Camp David. It's good for resting, relaxing. We have some birds, we have some just nature, kind of.
Yeah, and Alex sleeping in the hammock right now.
Yeah, he's having hammock, relaxing there. So what my vision, what I want to do here is, part of it, it's for myself. Part of it, I want to empower my fellow youth, girls and boys, people around me, people in Uganda. What I want to do is, I remember some year back ago, my dad used to tell us that, they could even buy books or they could pay part of their school fees for themselves. Then we asked him how. So he explained to us, they used to have like some poultry at home, or they used to have some animals at home. So nowadays people have them, but they don't focus on them so much. So my goal is I want to, here I'll call it Camp David. What I want to do here is I want to have some mixed farming. Already I have some bananas, I have some trees already. And then right now what I'm planning is, even right now today, I was planting some watermelons, green peppers, and some other things. So my plan is I want to have all those kind of stuff like poultry and raising some animals. It will be, part of it will be kind of like educating my fellow youth to empower them. My dream is once I have all those things set, I'll come with fellow youth here. I'll explain to them my experience. I'll explain to them everything. And then that's when I will now go in homes where to see a real orphan. If I happen to get a real orphan and I want to sponsor half of the school fees, because I can't say that I'm ready to pay for the orphanage school fees, where I'm ready to do what? I can't do that, honestly. I've not reached that extent yet. But in future, if God helps what I'm doing right now, once I get my poultry stuff place set, and then like some cows like for milk, and then if I bring a child, of course the farm will be stable. I'll be getting some, right now I'm just putting in money. I'll be now getting some stuff. Maybe I'll be selling other things. If I have like poultry, like this local chicken, or like these chickens for eggs. If I have a lots of them, I can sell the eggs. It will help me to pay the people I'm working with here. And part of it, I can get some local chickens. I get a child whom I want to empower, like an orphan or someone I want to empower them in their homes, not from building an orphanage somewhere. Because building orphanage, to me, it looks now like it's like you're promoting orphanages. Whereby I've seen cases whereby people will carry their children, they'll bring them and dump them by the gate. They'll just always come and see that child, monitor the child, but they'll know that the child is being taken care of, or the child is being sponsored with education. But to me, if my plan is all set, I will want to, if the child is kind of real orphan, I can sponsor that child, or I can help that child from the parents or the grandparents. Meaning that I can educate that child to empower that child in this way. I will get my 2 chickens, layers, local chickens. I'll say, do you know what? I'll first show that child that we make friendship. And then I give her or him that chicken, if means like 2 or 3. And then I will keep bringing her to my place to have the love for the chicken, to experience. And then I'll say, okay, I'll be coming to see what you're having. Out of the 2 chickens, in maybe 3 months or 4 months, those 2 chickens will lay eggs and they'll hatch, and he or she will always have a love. After seeing what I'm having here, he will also say, oh, I also want to be like so and so. We'll also start rearing those chickens slowly. Guess what? Tomorrow, after some time, he or she will have like maybe more than 5 chicken. If he or she wants to go, she's in school already, and they have sent her for books or any other things, I'll say, you know what? Why can't you sell one of your chicken? That will be part of empowering that child, that she can do things for himself or herself. That's all what I can say at my level right now. But I have a dream whereby, okay, for example, if the chickens they have now reached like 10 or 20 or 50, he will not have enough place to raise those chickens. He will move from a chicken to sell those chickens and buy like a goat. And he will raise those goats, and the goats will multiply many, and he can even sell those goats and buy a cow. And once now he now has like a cow, or she has a cow, she can now start doing things like for herself, and that will help. I think that will help the youth being focused and being serious on something that they are doing, and also trying to teach them to have, you should always live by having a dream for something, and also admiring in a good way. So I always believe that admiring can also empower you. once I admire something, I also want to have it. Then I'll have to come to close this person who has such a thing to educate me or to tell me, what did you do to reach at that extent? So that's kind of like my plan that I want to do at Camp David here.
Thank you so much for sharing.
Yeah.
And thank you for being the great role model that you are.
Yeah.
Do you mind sharing what is one challenge that you're currently facing?
The challenge right now what I'm facing right now at my place here, it is fixing all this place here. Right now, I wanted to, the challenge I'm having right now is I have one guy whom I work with here. And I would wish to have more than that, but the challenge I'm having is like to pay people I'm working with. I've not reached that extent yet. And then another challenge is I would wish to have more, and then for the farm to start being, to help itself. But the only reason why I see it could be for the farm to support itself, it will be if I have like such a stuff like the poultry. And then about the stuff like the cow and other things, that one can be there. But if once I have such a things, I think those are the things which will help me to get out of what is on the ground, just keep rotating to help my people, to help I myself with my people around, to educate them, and then also to have the farming stuff around. But the another challenge is like we have just come out from the dry season. So if it is like a dry season, I have to wait until rain season. That's when I will start now planting things. Like for now, we have been planting watermelon, green peppers, and some other vegetables. I will say that will be nice for me since I'm just by the swamp. If I have in future, I get like my water pump, I do like irrigation system, whereby I will always have like my vegetables around 24/7. Then my bananas will always be okay. And then after that, I will keep also running everything. The system will be helping itself. And then I won't have a lot of challenge. But the challenge right now, I'm just having is those are the challenges. Or maybe I'm trying to fence up this place because I know it is always like when you're doing something, never think that everyone will always be happy with what you're doing. So another challenge I'm having is like I would wish to gazette my land. I fence it properly, whereby it will not be for anyone to enter into the farm, because once I have like poultry, it will not need people to enter to see those chickens, when sometimes they carry diseases or they carry others, even they can come like safety. They come and steal your property, things like that. They won't know why you are making things like that. You want to educate even maybe like their children, but someone will just come and say, oh, I want to be patient for all that time. Let me just come and pick up what he's having. So that is one of the biggest challenge what I'm having, to fence around. Then I start doing my development around slowly.
Okay.
Yeah.
And now for my last question. I know you've met a lot of Americans who've made it to Uganda, but what would you share with Americans who haven't yet visited? What would you like them to know about your country?
Actually, my country, Uganda is known as Pearl of Africa. And indeed, that one, what I will want to tell the Americans who are still there in States is this. What I'm going to tell you, it's your fellow Americans that they have said to us. If it was me to tell you, it would be something maybe I've sugar-coated it. But what the Americans who have been with them here, like Jessica can tell you, that Uganda people, they're friendly, they're nice people, and they're happy people, welcoming. So, yeah, so you can always come and experience. We have a saying here, we have, should I call it like a not a proverb? Maybe I can call it maybe a proverb. We have a saying that a child who does not move always says that the mother is the best cook. Who does not move around to see other parents or how they are cooking their food will always say, oh, do you know what? My mom is the best cook. But once the child goes out there and meet other families and see the way they do their cookings. The child says, oh, although my mom is best in cooking rice, but the other one is a little bit more better than her, stuff like that. So I'll wish all the Americans, those who are there in States, I know it's a great place, but I've seen a lot of Americans who have come here in Uganda, especially those I've moved around with, whom I've taken to the park, whom I've stayed with for some time. They always said, you know what? I don't want to go back to my country. I don't want to go back to Uganda. I mean, back to US. I'm like, no, Uganda is just like, it's like nothing, but we always hear about US, they are developed countries, they have buildings, they have a lot of, they have like money, they have like what? Then we are like, they're like, no, we like it here more. Then, yeah, I think you should just really come and experience Uganda, and you love it and you like it. This is direct from the horse mouth. I'm a Ugandan. Yes.
Ben, thank you so much. I'm so happy to have had the chance to interview you, and I'm really excited for friends and family back home who are listening to meet you, hear about your story and your vision, your project for Camp David. I just think it's so great. So thank you so much. Bye, everyone.
Thank you, Jessica.